linked with him is because they've sold their striker. What's his name? I can't even remember his name now, but he scored that banger a few weeks ago and he's gone to Ajax and he was doing his thing in Germany before West Ham. I can't lie, that, you know, if someone help me out, what's the West Ham striker's name? It's completely eluded me. But either way, you know, the bulk of them being linked with Eddie Nketiah is because of this, people. You know, it's because they've sold a striker for 25 million, you know, selling someone that has way more experience and a stronger, whatever you say about, I can't remember the bloody guy's name, man. What's his name, bro? The West Ham striker, Halia. That's it. Whatever you say about him, I'm sure he was in Germany. He got a decent record. I'm sure he's been in Holland before. Either way, he's got a better record as a professional footballer or a professional striker than Eddie Nketiah. I know Eddie Nketiah has done his thing at under 21s level for England and it's fantastic with the record there. You know, I know he's scored goals for fun at youth level, but when you look at it, for me personally, he's got 18 months left. It would be good for Arsenal if we could twang it, you know. Like I said, if you could get 30 million and a sell-on clause for Eddie Nketiah, not Ozil, that would be great because it can be reinvested. But I know West Ham have made some stupid transfers, but I think they'd have to be a special kind of stupid. Maybe they keep an interest on him because he's a young striker, young English striker with potential. He also scored against them, so they got to see him firsthand. He's got 18 months left on his deal, people, which is, for me, the crucial thing. I want to see a proactiveness. I don't want us to go into the summer. On one hand, it could be telling that Eddie Nketiah, there's no talk around a new deal. You know, there's no talk around the new deal. Maybe that's telling. It's a bit like Lacazette or a bit like El Nene, and that, you know, barring a miracle, you're probably going to be looked to moved on and whatnot. Highly of my guy, man. You know me, I'm not the guy for the pronunciations, my dude. I'm the guy for the football. I mean, no disrespect, but like I said, yeah, it wouldn't make much sense. He's got 18 months left on his deal. I don't want to go into the summer and, beyond the obvious, have to deal with the speculation of Eddie because, again, proactive approach. Put your hat on him. Say he's going to be a first-team player and tie him down, or say you're going to loan him out, you know, try and make him improve and get resale value, hope he can be an addition, or say, cool, do you know what, Eddie? You've done what you've needed to do for us in this football club. There's 18 months left on your deal. We're going to bring in Balogun, or Martinelli's going to be the striker. Or what I've said previously, I believe Arteta wants a striker outright. So we're going to bring in this striker or whatever, and we're going to use this money that can be reinvested. No shame. Eddie Nketiah could leave with his head held high. He's played 57 times for Arsenal. He scored a goal for Arsenal, a couple of goals for Arsenal. He's been a professional footballer for Arsenal. He's done more than what some young players have failed to do at this club. He could leave with his head held high. Like I said, I do think Eddie Nketiah is going to be a better player than he is right now, but maybe he needs to leave Arsenal to become that. And maybe and the way Arsenal are right now, we can't wait until he's 25 or so to say, yeah, he might hit the ground running, because I'm not seeing the building blocks. You know, strikers take long to develop, and Curtis Shaw's in the chat, or at least I hope he still is, so he can tell you just as much as a striker. You know, you got to take time. And for me, why I think strikers of importance, because I know Aubameyang's not scoring a lot of goals, but he's doing his thing. The minute Aubameyang signed that new contract, we should have been looking for the next striker of tomorrow for this football club. Lacazette, he's in form, but he's 29, and you've got someone that's 31 years of age. So we need to make a decision. We need to be looking for strikers year in, year out. You know, have we been monitoring one for a couple of years, and then maybe in this season or the next other season, we're going to do what we're going to do? For me, it wouldn't make sense to sell Halia, forgive me for mispronunciations, to bring in Eddie, purely because he's more experienced, he's more likely to score goals. You know, Eddie's very raw and inexperienced on the grand scheme of things. He's played 57 times for Arsenal. He made, 10, 11 appearances for Leeds or something, and he didn't really play. So I can't see how he's helping them and how he's going to take them to the next level. Of course, you have to consider they might buy a man, he might bang, but I can't see it. And like I said, if I'm West Ham, just looking at it without emotion, people, 18 months left on his deal. You know, arguably you could say he's third choice forward. I know he's kept Lacazette out the team and maybe even forced Aubameyang out wide, but at the same time, people, I'm sure you'd all agree Eddie is probably third choice centre forward. If Martinelli then goes through there, he's probably fourth, but right now he's playing on the left. So would you and a third, fourth choice striker who's got 18 months left, you know, would you really want to pay over the top for him? And again, crucially as well, if I'm West Ham, just look at the numbers. He might be prolific in the Europa League and all of these things, but when I get down to it and I want a Premier League striker, he's currently not that. He's got 4 goals in 33 appearances in the Premier League. Now I'll afford him the luxury of, you know, not all of them have been 90 minutes. He's been young and, you know, he's come on for a little 10 minutes at a period, but he has this season started games, and off the back of last season as well, started games. 4 goals in 33 for 30 million with 18 months left on his deal doesn't make much sense to me personally. You know, he's got 12 goals in 57 appearances in all comps for Arsenal. So again, talk of being a sharpshooter, a fox in the box, and all of these things are not making sense for me personally. So if you're gonna go for him, people, surely you're better off taking a chance on some man in the championship, similar to what Villa did with Watkins, where you could go for a, you know, an Armstrong, who I've done a video on a few weeks ago and released it today, and he's doing all right in the championship. You know, Ivan Toney in recent weeks, he's gone off the boil, but surely it'd make more sense taking a chance on them or doing similar to what they've already done apparently. With actually taking Haller, because he was doing all right in the Bundesliga or whatever until this happened. Also, at the same point, like I said, you're better off taking chances on people in the championship. I'm not gonna lie, I'd be open to selling Eddie. I'm wary of selling a man mid-season, but I would be open to selling him purely because it might. And not that I don't listen. When I see 100k for Balogun, I don't think we should offer assurances to Balogun. I don't think there's any divine right. If you're not Kylian Mbappe, you know, the club don't need to demand you anything. You know, you need to show your levels. But at the same time, we can all see Balogun is a better striker. So cool. Not everyone has to make it at this club. Could we just move him on? You know, there's a pathway for Balogun. There's a little bit of convincing him that, yo, there's a pathway, you can do it now. You know, you're going to be that striker off the bench / in and around now. So I wouldn't mind that. You know, if you sell Eddie Nketiah, pathway for Balogun, you let Balogun do up what Eddie Nketiah is doing, which he should be. I don't mind that. But I also can see a future where you sell Eddie. You know, I would let Balogun go this window if we're not getting anywhere personally. Sell Balogun for a little nominal fee. Sell Eddie Nketiah and then reinvest. Now, again, it's probably stupid of me to suggest both of them leave because you're then light for options. You know, Aubameyang will play on the left and that'll push through the middle, Lacazette as well, but you need somebody else within the squad. Me, crucially, you know, if they're willing to pay 30 million for someone without any motion, with a weak CV in the Premier League, like, he's not going to score goals for me. And West Ham are having a decent season by their own standard. You know, again, you've got to take a chance on players. So if you believe he could be 30, fair play, but that's my opinion. But in relation to the actual article, people linking them with him, and again, I don't see West Ham paying 30 million. Maybe they're just putting the feelers out and seeing what can be done for Eddie. But like you can see here, West Ham tracking Arsenal striker, West Ham tracking Arsenal striker as possible Sebastian Haller replacement. Simple as that. You know, like you can see here, they sold him for 20 million. So you know, then again, there'd be a net spend of 10 million for Eddie Nketiah, but at the same time, it wouldn't make sense. And they've been linked with Joshua King, who's in the championship. I haven't seen too much of this Dar guy. Does he not play for Rennes or one of them French teams? I'm sure I've come across him, but you know, it makes sense to go for one of them. Again, you could sit here and say Premier League proven for Eddie, because I wouldn't say he's Premier League proven, but he's played a number of times. But I don't see how he helps them. If you're gonna buy Eddie Nketiah, for me, if you're West Ham, and again, I don't know West Ham youngsters like West Ham fans, but I'd rather, you might as well give your own young striker a chance, really, because 30 million for a gamble, he's very inexperienced, and I'd be looking at his. You didn't even get to play for Leeds. You're not really doing what you need to do at Arsenal. Your record for someone that's talked about as a fox in a box and as a poacher and a sharpshooter, the CV doesn't match up. The minutes and the numbers don't match up. You know, the goal celebration does, but they don't match up. So I'd rather go for a young player, or I'd rather, you know, you'd rather go around and ask for people. And look, to be fair with you, it might be stupid, but I'd rather take a punt on trying to buy Giroud. Now, I know Giroud is being linked with Juventus. He's being linked with, you know, Inter Milan and all these things, but I'd rather a cheeky offer for Giroud. Someone said I'm always going in on Eddie. You know, I'm not going in on Eddie. I'm one of Eddie's biggest fans, but I have to free the realness. I don't think he's levels right now. It's as simple as that. And, you know, as much as I like Eddie and like the Balagans and all of these things and all these young players, if you're not Kylian Mbappe, Lionel Messi and these sort of man there, and Ronaldo and Neymar, anyone can be replaced, really. And the club might be looking at it rightly or wrongly. You sold Thingy for a couple of bob, Greenwood for a couple of bob. You know, you could sell Eddie for a couple of bob. You should have sold Balogun again. I want these guys to progress to the first team, but at the same time, you know, we need to be thinking about cash. And for me, we need to start hustling. You know, for me, a lot of people say, oh, when you look at Brewster and Liverpool, they got 30 million or so for him. And I get that. There is logic. Eddie Nketiah's got the under-21s record. But why we're in a weaker position for me personally is because we're you know, if we're completely honest with ourselves, the CV just simply isn't strong enough from Eddie, you know. But at least Brewster went out on loan and kind of badded it up at Swansea. It didn't work out for Eddie. Eddie at Leeds, you know, he's shown patches at Arsenal, but he's been nothing more than a squad player at both. I do think you can get 30 million for him purely because, today's day and age, very, very rarely in the Premier League do you see value for money. It's what you can hustle, it's who you can hustle. Somehow we got 30 odd for Iwobi, shouldn't have been worth that. We were able to hustle, sort of thing, people. So yeah, Eddie can prove a lot of people wrong. I do think there's an element of surprise to come with Eddie, but like what I'm seeing right now is that it's not going to happen here. You might become a player of tomorrow, but we don't have the time to wait for that. If he goes on a couple of loan spells and things like that, who knows? Like I said, like you can see, people, he's made 20 appearances this season and he's not scored too many goals. He's been a sharpshooter primarily in the Europa. Shout out to him against, I believe, Leicester, definitely West Ham, where he nicked it for us. But yeah, people, a permanent deal could be more attractive to Arsenal. Again, maybe a loan, you loan him to West Ham, and if he plays, you get a loan fee, and if he plays, he kind of certifies himself in terms of solidifies a greater footballing stature, and then maybe it can tempt people to take a risk on him with 18 months. But I can't see it happening, people. It's gone on to say, again, it remains to be seen whether Arsenal would entertain a loan move, which I don't think we should. I'd rather him just sit on the bench and be a squad player here, really. If he's not good, West Ham, I don't know if you're going to play consistently. I don't want another Leeds spell from him. Unless we're going to send him somewhere he's going to play week in, week out and kind of show some levels, there's no point, people. There's absolutely no point. So yeah, man. And again, crucially, like it said here, I'm all about raising funds to move for other targets, people. And again, it's gone on to say a departure would present Balogun with more first team chances. And I don't believe giving divine rights to the likes of Balogun and things like that. If Balogun wants to cut now, we're at that stage now where let him cut, stop playing him in the first team unless we're down to our bodies and we need it. Give them chances to other young players and just concede you made it L and don't let it happen again with the young Kion Edwards, with the Muller guy, Tyrese John Jules, Kiddo Taylor Hart, whose contract is also running down. Be a bit proactive in that regards. But in relation to this, I think West Ham would be incredibly stupid to pay 20 to 30 million for Eddie. I think any club would, but that'd be the fee I'd personally be looking for. So we'll have to see what happens there, people. Got a quick I appreciate that, Kevin, man. We've got a super chat. That's what they call these things again. Who were you most disappointed when they didn't make it at Arsenal based on their talent? In terms of ranking them, I think J. Emmanuel Thomas probably had J. Emmanuel Thomas was a top one there. I think Benick was better than Akpom personally. I think Afobe got shagged by injuries. I didn't think it was going to happen for Akpom. He was a good striker, but you can just tell when it isn't going to work. And beyond just cheering on Hayland, you could just tell it wasn't a thing. I think personally, Afobe is out of the strikers. I'd say Afobe was the best. I'd probably say Eddie Nketiah is second, and then Akpom. To be fair with you, I've seen Akpom bad it up. I'd probably have to go back and watch old footage. But out of all of them, I'd say J. Emmanuel Thomas. Love for the super chat, my guy. I appreciate that each and every time. I hope you're all doing well and safe. People, do not forget to hit the like button. I see you lot going active in the comments. There's 293 of you. Can we get that up, man? Football is harsh. I don't think Eddie Nketiah gets judged harshly. I do think people scapegoat, but at the same time, he's not shown the levels really and truly. He's at a point he actually showed talent because he took Lacazette out the starting lineup and he's not been clinical. I'm looking at Eddie Nketiah. I look at the game against Everton. I saw reactiveness. I didn't see you giving the centre halves any much of a problem. I don't see someone who's physically ready. I don't see someone who reads the game strong enough right now. I see someone who's very reactive. I call him being a clinical striker and things like that. I've seen him snatch at some stupid chances in the Europa League, even times when he scored. Everton, there was a chance. I'm sure you can all remember it. He had a lot of time. He had a lot of space. Personally, I think he should have played somebody in, and he didn't. And I think he's too selfish. Now, there's nothing wrong with being a selfish striker. There's absolutely nothing wrong. But I think you've got to find balance. Ultimately, you're going to be judged on goals as a striker. And if you're not scoring goals, you're not levels. Like I said, he might develop into a top striker. I think he has got ability. Owen rates him, Shearer rates him, Ian Wright rate him. These are all men that have done more in football than me. And he might do that. But we got 2 or 3 years to wait for Eddie when you're not showing anything. We call him a sharpshooter. The record isn't there. It's not there. He as a striker, you're going to be judged by goals. 57 appearances, 12 goals. Really, any of them haven't been bagged in the Premier League. Once again, he has, sometimes it hasn't always been 90 minutes and things like that. He's not. And then it's also as well, you're judged on goals. Goals are your bread and butter, but it's also what you do when you don't score. I don't think Eddie has enough to him without the ball and things like that. I don't think he's involved in the game. I think he's on the periphery of things. I think I just don't think his levels. If that makes me harsh, then it is what it is. Football is a harsh game, people. So if that makes me harsh, it is what it is. Football is harsh, man. I've seen Arsenal lose Champions League finals with like 15 minutes and all of those things left, man. Football's a harsh game, you know. Truth, if the truth makes me harsh, then we have to set it free, man. We have to set it free. It is what it is in that regards, man. Um, we move, man. We move. And to be fair, it's not the end of the world, man. Even with Balogun, if Balogun wants to keep it moving, bruv. Cut, bruv. Like, it's that simple. If listen, I don't, unless, like I said, unless you're a top Mbappe or something, I don't think the club should, beyond like a proper insurance is telling you where you could fit in. I don't think they should say, nah, you're definitely going to play. Please stay. I don't think we should be begging. This Arsenal Football Club, Balogun might turn into a quality player, but I'm not a fan of all these antics. If man want to leave, let them leave, man. I'm angry at the club for not making no cash, and because I'm sitting here on my YouTube videos and saying these things are going to happen, and lo and behold, months later they're happening. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. That's what I'm annoyed about. But it is what it is. That's actually, again, you know what, Werner plays for them boy there, so I don't even care about none of that. It is what it is. I just think Eddie's raw. I think a loan spell would really do a lot for him. I think a loan where you could play consistently 20, 30 games. Let's see what you're really on. Let's see what you're on. I do, Eddie can surprise people because you don't know. A year's a long time. You could go out on loan, get some football. I think just like Joe Willock, they needed to have gone somewhere. You're going to play 20, 30 times because, I do think Arteta likes what Eddie brings to the table. Sometimes he started him when we've all been looking like where we've been bewildered. But at the same time, if Arteta has a gun to his head, his kids are kidnapped, his family's kidnapped, and he needs to win and get 3 points, or something mad happens, I don't think he's playing Eddie. And that tells me you need to go out on loan. Simple as that. And I've always said it. I think if Arteta, if every area, fullback, midfield, centre half, every area, if that was addressed in this team and we had a squad that we believed was competent enough to really get top 4 and be consistent there, I think he would look for a striker. I think he likes Aubameyang, but he's not convinced with him through the middle for whatever reason. Lacazette, I think he likes his hold-up playing things, but he doesn't get enough goals, something Arteta's indirectly spoken about. And Eddie, if he could score goals and was a bit stronger, he could be the guy, really and truly. But you already know in Eddie's case, people. So make of that what you will. But again, I want Eddie to develop. It's in my best interest for Eddie to develop. We either have a first-team player or we have a player that progresses to the first team. It's as simple as that, man. Would you have said the same about Gnabry? I'd implore you all, I'd implore you all to thingy, go and look at the first ever video I did, the first ever video I did. That's what, and that will tell you everything. That's what kicked off my YouTube career. I couldn't understand why Gnabry was messing around with Gnabry. And the day I knew Gnabry was leaving is when he was allowed to go to the Olympics, but Iwobi wasn't, in the sense of the Olympics was coinciding with the season starting. Now you can let man go to the Olympics, but they're similar age. If Iwobi's allowed to stay and Gnabry's allowed to go, that tells me that I'm not, if I'm a manager, if I'm the player, the manager don't really rely on me at the start of the season because he doesn't want me involved in his early planning for the season. That tells you everything, really. He needed to go and play football. I hear that. So Frankie, just go back and check it. Eddie could, this is it. This is why I tell you about young players, for every, everyone could go on and be the next Gnabry, or they could be somebody else, Eddie, Balogun, Amici, these men might leave and become ballers. Either way, they might not. What I like about them is seizing their futures. Well, all I care about is players can progress to Arsenal's first team. And if they can't, let's get top dollar that can be reinvested. And too often than not, Arsenal are getting pennies for players. Look at Josh Martin, he wasn't getting a game at under 18s level for Arsenal. Now he's in the first team at Norwich. Nathan Teller at Southampton. Benson got released by Arsenal and he's now at Burnley. Sometimes players need to leave or people need to go elsewhere for it to hit off. There's no shame in that. Sometimes it's just, this isn't just going to happen here sort of thing. You have to keep it moving sort of thing. Gnabry, I think Gnabry was a bit different because Gnabry got rubbed out even in the sense of everyone forgets 2014 FA Cup run, how crucial Ozil and Gnabry were, didn't Gnabry play against Everton? He definitely played against Spurs. It is what it is, man. To be fair with you, I think Joe and Eddie need to go out on loan personally. They're a bit for me.